I need some frank advice about what I should do. It's all so messy and I don't know what's right or wrong anymore. My husband and I had a pretty rough patch just before we got married. We had been together for 8 years and he had basically lost interest in me and stopped having sex. I cheated with a random guy and we broke up. Awful move that I have always regretted, mostly because it was premeditated and not a in-the-moment thing. He forgave me though and admitted to neglecting our relationship during that time. After a few weeks we started speaking again and decided to wipe the slate clean. Things moved quickly and he proposed and we got married a short while later. That was a long time ago and we now have kids and a happy life. A few months ago, however, my husband's best friend made a new friend and introduced the guy to their group. By some karmic twist of fate, my husband's new friend was the guy I kissed all that time ago. I was so sick when I realized. I told my husband as soon as I knew, but at that stage he had already been integrated into the friend group. To say he was angry was an understatement. He was so hurt and heartbroken and completely lashed out at me, which I get. After a few weeks he spoke to me and said he didn't want to get a divorce over this, but he is deeply embarrassed and ashamed, as am I. I was so glad to hear that he didn't want to break up, and I told him I would do whatever he is comfortable with in terms of coming clean. He has decided that he is going to forget we had the conversation and move on as though it hasn't happened. The most painful part, though, is that he said if any of his friends ever find out, he will pretend he has no clue of anything and leave me on the spot. I am so sad and worried that the future of our family now depends on this. And the thing is, I know his friends already know. They haven't said anything because that would be rude, but I could tell something had shifted in their thinking towards me before I even realized about the guy. The air tenses when I come into the room, and a few of them have let things slip when they get drunk and they think they are being subtle. I've said this to my husband and his response was, "Oh well, if it's ever said out loud, I'm leaving you." I'm so sick with worry I don't know what to do. It feels like my whole life is on a ticking time bomb for a mistake I made and worked through with my husband over a decade ago. I completely understand his position, but I am racked with guilt, shame, and worry and feel so trapped by it all. And I can't help but feel that my husband is basing our kids' happiness on chance for the sake of his ego. I am willing to come out and admit my errors, but he is too embarrassed to let people know he married me when he knew I had cheated. I don't know who or what is right or wrong, and I have no idea what is the best thing to do for our family. I am a mess lately and struggling to take care of myself and my kids. But it was my behavior that got us here, so I can't help think I need to put my head down and get on with it. I need some honest advice and perspective from someone who isn't so close to the situation or so emotional. I am too afraid to speak to anyone else about it. Please help. Why should I do? Now for the next story. I destroyed my marriage with a stupid comment and one night stand. So I found my wife's post, "I'm going to divorce my husband of 10 years. Someone made a video about it, and that video got back to me. I would like to tell my side. When I met my wife, I didn't really think much of her. She was funny, kind, and a good friend, but I had no other interest. Her friend Sarah was gorgeous. She had long red hair and these soft freckles and long eyelashes. She was my dream girl, but she was not interested in me. I noticed my wife Amber was hanging out with me more, laughing at my jokes, listening to me, and it made me consider having more of a relationship with her. Sarah got a boyfriend about a year into us being friends, and her interest in our friendship group dwindled. She hung out with us less and spent more time with her boyfriend, which left me and Amber alone a lot. I ended up giving up on Sarah and focusing on Amber. We started dating and got married. We kept our friendship with Sarah, but we focused on each other. In the back of my mind, though, it always felt like I had missed out on something. My marriage was boring. Amber and I were basically friends, and I was working hard to save for a house, and she was working hard to save for future kids, so we were existing alongside each other, not actually together. So one day when we were at dinner, I got jealous of Sarah and her husband, who seemed happy, and made the comment about settling for Amber. Amber shut down after that. She kept repeating the same questions over and over, and it would make me so angry that I didn't want to answer. So I didn't. I guess that was my first bad move. Sarah messaged me after the dinner to check if I was okay, and we kept messaging me. She was just reassuring me that I did nothing wrong and it would work out. Then I got a text saying Amber was planning to divorce me. So Sarah came over and we tried to stop her from leaving me, but it seemed to only make things worse. Sarah saw how distraught I was and stayed to comfort me, and we drank, and in a drunk, stupid mistake we ended up sleeping together. Sarah confessed to her husband that we slept together, and her husband told Amber. Now both our marriages are ruined. I regret it so much, and I just wish I could take it all back. Now for the next story. I cheated on my husband and he found out. I'm just going to say this post doesn't define me as a person. I love my husband, but I have needs, some that he doesn't fulfill. I'm not proud, but I have cheated on him in the past. This time he found out. I have a co-worker, 20s. M, who I've gotten close to a few months ago, mostly after me and my husband, 21F37M, got into a bad argument. One night after an argument left the house and called my co-worker crying, he comforted me and we met up and I ended up sleeping with him. After that I avoid that co-worker because I felt way too guilty. Until more arguments with my husband happened, and then sometimes I'd call my co-worker and he'd comfort me in a way. I didn't think I'd get caught until my co-worker's girlfriend I didn't know he was in a relationship got my husband's social media username somehow and told him I was cheating on him. So last night when I came home from work he told me to sit down, and then he said he knew about my affair. He asked if it was only the one co-worker. I knew he had the right to know, so I told him about all the people I had relationships with during our relationship. He told me I needed to leave because he didn't want to see me for a while, and now he wants a paternity test as soon as possible. I asked if there's a possibility we could stay together, yet I got no answer. I feel bad. My husband has been nothing but wonderful to me. But I needed more. To be honest, I want to be with him, but I don't think I can be in a monogamous marriage. I don't know if he'll forgive me though, and I'm sure his parents and his kids will convince him to divorce me. Thank you for watching.